Dreaming of Dana Scully, written and read by Daniel Siuba for tvobsessive.com. In the early months of 2021, I began dreaming of Special Agent Dana Scully from the X-Files. Before writing this article, I never thought to compare television or dreams, not even when Twin Peaks fans exploded in speculation about the dreamer who dreams and lives inside the dream and The Return. But my Scully dreams compelled me to explore the relationship and similarities between television and dreaming. Unlike television, the dreams that come to us in sleep are largely our own creation, even if we are unaware of the creation process itself, unless you're lucid dreaming, of course. The assemblage of images, events, feelings, thoughts, and intuitions, whether you interpret them or not, have an undeniable connection with the individual dreamer, although in my experience, most people, if they remember their dreams at all, leave them unexplored and thus abandoned. In contrast, the creation of a television series requires a massive group effort. Writers, directors, producers, crews, actors, editors, and composers work together to bring stories to life. Unlike a dream, a television series needs significant financial backing and relies on a certain amount of consistent collective attention to generate new seasons. But differences aside, there are many similarities between television and dreams, and I'll attempt to use my dreams to illustrate them. In 2021, I was working on a dissertation for a doctoral degree I did not want and ultimately walked away from. But when I had these dreams, I was still striving, as I had been for nearly a decade, to force the degree and its career path to fit, even though I knew it was wrong for me. I made significant life choices based solely on desperation, and I chose to believe that, somehow, things would just work out, even though I felt perpetually at odds with my life. This inauthentic life, coupled with viewing the X-Files for the first time, stirred up my dream life for several months. In January 2021, I dreamed of Scully for the first time. In the dream, I observe a group of men in black chasing Scully through a dense jungle. She turns and waves a pistol at them, threatening to blow up several canisters of flammable material. Then, I appear on the scene and we escape together. In the second dream, I am a disembodied point of awareness. I see Scully standing in a red rock desert. Her arms are bound, and she is making an impassioned speech about not giving up the fight. Then, several neon green tendrils reach toward her face, cover her mouth, and silence her. My vision fades to black, as if the dream itself is asphyxiated. In the third and final dream, Scully is being interrogated by a blonde female agent on a crowded passenger train. Scully is unmoved by the interrogator, who throws insults at her to provoke a response. Scully remains steady. She is self-assured and fearless. Eventually, I asked myself, why these dreams, and why Scully? Context is important when revisiting dreams. These Scully dreams did not emerge in a temporal vacuum, but manifested during a time when I was deeply out of sync with myself. Whether you say I was living in bad faith, living life as a false self, or ignoring my intuition, I just wasn't being honest, and at the height of this dishonesty, Scully appeared. Similarly, a television series arises in a specific temporal context. A TV show that is initially groundbreaking and explosively popular can very quickly become a period piece. Like us, TV shows age. The very material they are filmed on becomes indicative of their era. Dialogue, actors, hairstyles, wardrobe, and story arcs can quickly become dated, archaic, or even laughable. For me, The X-Files is undeniably a 90s show. It doesn't matter that it continued into the 21st century, because in my mind, it cannot be extricated from its temporal origin. For whatever reason, I always seem to read it backwards through time. I can watch it now, but it only exists back then. Place is another important contextual factor. In my dreams, I saw Scully in a lush jungle, an uninhabited rocky desert, and a crowded passenger train. Perhaps each locale was evocative of my life at the time of each dream. They occurred roughly 1 to 2 months apart. But regardless, they each formed a clear and distinct backdrop for the drama taking place in front of me. On television, this gets trickier. The Twilight Zone, a show similar to The X-Files with its monster of the week stories, sci-fi proclivities, and rampant paranoia, is obviously a television show. By that I mean the sound stages and facades are blatant and conspicuous. Sometimes abrasive lighting or poorly realized landscapes reveal the illusion. But somehow, this has an unexpected effect. It makes me enjoy the show even more, and it rarely lessens the emotional or psychological impact of the story being told, which certainly speaks to the show's strength. But The X-Files, which, I must confess, I have only seen the first 5 seasons of, is, in comparison, much more immersive. The unreality of place operates in a different way. As someone who has lived all over the United States, 6 different states, I can usually recognize whether the stated location in a TV show matches up to the actual environment. For example, shows set in the flat Midwest but are obviously filmed in hilly Southern California. The first 5 seasons of The X-Files were filmed in Vancouver, so when I watch scenes or entire episodes that ostensibly take place in specific parts of the US, I know that it is actually taking place in Canada. This adds another dreamlike layer to the show. Nothing is really as it seems. It is all an illusion, yet the stories that play out on this illusory stage never cease to envelop my attention. The episodic nature of television is also like dreaming. Many people remember a single dream or a single dream image upon waking, but I often dream in serial format, such as a progression of 6 dreams in one night, or, in the case of the Scully dreams, a reoccurring protagonist in dreams that took place months apart. In content and in form, these dreams also resemble television episodes. I am not interested in exploring these dreams causally, nor am I interested in using psychological theories to interpret them. For example, Scully is my anima. The men in the black represent my shadow. The blonde interrogator is my superego. But I am interested in the fact that they were both inspired by The X-Files and mimic the format of television episodes. They include drama, conflict, and a narrative progression, albeit a brief one. They feature a heroine protagonist with a strong sense of morality and courage, as well as ominous forces, both human and alien. Clearly, I was responding to some aspect of The X-Files, but at the time I had these dreams, I think I was more or less unconscious of what this something was. One of the conclusions I've drawn is that The X-Files, as well as any other television show, portrays not only a world, but also a worldview. There are beliefs and values, both implicit and explicit, communicated in every episode with dialogue, characters, conflicts, and resolutions. The dark world of The X-Files is populated with monsters, aliens, government conspirators, and countless murderers. But it also includes characters who risk their lives in pursuit of truth and the continuity of life. There is plenty I am leaving out, but after reflecting on these dreams, The X-Files, and television, I can see the resonance between the worldview of the show, my own experience of life in America, and the context of my life at the time I was both watching the show and dreaming of Scully. Especially since 2020, I have been overwhelmed with conspiracy theories, and beneath every conspiracy lies yet another conspiracy, and another, which ultimately rests on a fantasy of omniscience and omnipotence that gives the knower a false sense of control over reality, that is, over life and death. But The X-Files, which I love, is riddled with conspiracies. They make up its narrative fabric, and as soon as one conspiracy is uncovered, another one, or more, surfaces, and the search for truth continues, whatever that means. As the characters spin round and round in government bureaucracy, they battle monsters, supernatural forces, and sociopathic humans. Doesn't this all sound like a dream? Or perhaps a psychotic episode? In my dreams and on The X-Files, Scully is powerful, methodical, and fearless. She uses science as her lodestar, but never sacrifices her heart or her instincts. There is a kind of authenticity to her character, as well as a constitutional stability that I am certain I was responding to during such an uncertain period of my life and in the greater paranoid world. Perhaps her sanity and stability bubbled up in my dream life to remind me that I also contain the capacity for sanity and stability. I play the observer in these dreams because I had not yet found these traits inside myself, so I could only recognize them externally in someone else. This is a normal psychological process, i.e., projection, but it is not the end of it. To live authentically, we must embrace the qualities we admire and live them in waking life. And in this case, I think I did. 6 months after the last Scully dream, I withdrew from my doctoral program and let go of a career I had been working toward for 10 years. Although I am still grappling with the ripple effects of that decision and the resultant grief and frustration, what took you so long, I can take heart that perhaps I stopped dreaming of Scully because I became more like her. Her televised presence struck something in me that manifested in my dreams and gradually helped me wake up, at which point she took her leave. This, I think, is a truth worth celebrating. But I also wonder about Scully's partner in crime, her intuitive, mercurial, impulsive counterpart. Where was Fox Mulder in all this? I considered the idea that perhaps I functioned as a Mulder stand-in, but in each of these dreams, I was only a passive observer at best. If I ever do dream of Mulder, it will surely be because my life has become too logical, too unimaginative, and too confined. I can see him now. He is stepping toward me, illuminated from above by a harsh white light, pummeled by wind, wreathed in fog, telling me that the truth is not out there. It resides within. If you enjoyed this article, please like, share, comment, or subscribe. If you'd like to read or listen to more of our work, or if you'd like to support us directly, please see the video description below. As always, thank you for supporting TV Obsessive.